Welcome to episode 21 of Ring Talk. Slightly more packed this week. To my right, we've got Parm Goraya, who's going to come and talk to us. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Probably
you did? No,
excellent. Going to talk to us later on about the work that you do within boxing and the media side of it. We've got Stuart Howe, NLP,
and hypnotherapist,
to the celebrities, the stars, the boxers.
And boxers and celebrities.
We'll talk about your very brief retirement later on. And of course, we've got Steve Goodwin with us, head of Goodwin Boxing. So before we come on to you gents, we'll go through with Steve where we are with Goodwin Boxing this week. A couple of announcements to make, a couple of fights. Start off with Jon Palata, big heavyweight. Hopefully people have seen the video that we did with him one-on-one from a week or so back.
And hopefully now that while we're talking there'll be some footage being shown with any luck of when he won the London ABAs. He's now got into training with Don Charles. Makes his debut on the 19th of May. He's not the biggest heavyweight you'll ever see, but he's got a lot of talent and there's a lot for them to work on and develop. He punched very hard as an amateur. He knocked out 14 of his 22 victims. I think went by early stoppage, and even in the London ABAs he won on points, but he puts his opponent down in I think it was round 2.
Having known someone who trained him as an amateur, I'm told he's very explosive, very athletic. There's a lot of tools there for Don to work with.
That's great. It's a really good signing for us, and I love heavyweights, and we've got, which I will talk about this weekend, we've got a couple of fighters out this weekend, which we'll come on to in a minute. One of them's a heavyweight as well, which I'm really looking forward to. So I think John's going to be an exceptional fighter, and we're just really excited about his career and guiding him. We're action-packed with heavyweights now. We've signed, obviously, George Fox, which is Don Charles' son. We'll talk about Omar in a minute because he's fighting this weekend, and we've got another heavyweight we're signing this week.
So you've gone from having very few in the stable
we got
to build me up.
Yeah, we've got a great lot of heavyweights. Well, as you know, how busy it is with inquiries at the moment. It's as busy as we've ever had it since we've been in boxing. I've never had so many inquiries. So things are going really well, and I think it's a reward for the whole team and what we do.
So as with always, I mean, is it a matter now of strategising all these new names that you've got on the boards upstairs, strategising how you move them all forward? Because you're going to have that problem that you've got, say, in other weight divisions where, middleweight, for instance, Brad and Linus could eventually end up, wanting the same titles at the same time. If you're starting all these heavyweights off from day one at the same time, is it a concern now that you have to start plotting?
Not really, because you're going to go with whoever's the champion. You're going to go with the one who is most suitable to dethrone the champion.
Right.
So you've got Taylor Jones, which is Southern Area, which is victim number 1.
Yeah.
But we can't do anything with Tay at the moment because
that was Uzbekistan.
So he's chosen. Listen, that man's a warrior. I've got full respect for Tay as a fighter. But he's gone out, and what people are missing is he's gone a weight above as well. He's gone from middleweight to super middleweight to fight this kid, which. Good luck to him.
Yeah, good luck to Tay with it. Absolutely.
Because and what you say is, I'd rather him than some of these other fighters who won't fight anybody.
Yeah.
So good luck to Tay. But we will then look at Brad and Linus, and we will go with who we think is more, who will beat him easier.
Yeah.
Sounds so awful, but that's being really honest.
Yeah.
We signed Jon Palata as a heavyweight, and the other signing we've got is Tony Bange, who's a 4-0. Kid,
ex-Nazim
protege, So Nazim's worked with him from the start.
Is he still there?
He's still involved.
Oh, that's going to come down to your call.
Oh, we think so.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Saturday evening sorted. He comes to mention.
Yes, Tony's coming. Tony's going to make
kebabs.
Tony's making. I think Tony's going to make his debut on the 8th of September. So hopefully we'll have Naz down there as well with him. But he's 4-0, and he's had a little break, but he's back now, and now we're going to help to build him quite quickly over the next year or so, and see where we are with titles. He aims to win titles with him.
What weight is he?
He's a super welterweight.
Okay. As much as we laugh about saying, will Naz be there, that's a hell of an attraction to people to actually go and buy a ticket to be in the same building as Naz, and you're all boxing fans. I'd go and buy.
I'd just see him,
with the potential of going and sitting next to or nearby to Naz and bumping into him on the way to the toilets or something. There's
two really exciting signings. One heavyweight and Tony Bange, who really is now going to unleash his potential. Really nice guy. We met his father, who's a really nice man, and he's got a lady that's working with him, doing a lot of the PR work, and we'll give her a bit of. Hope you get her on one of the shows.
Yeah.
So it's very, very exciting times ahead, and we've got a lot more announcements to come over the next 2 weeks. But Jon Palata. who we mentioned, and Tony Bange, who has got a good, exciting period ahead, are our two for this week.
Yeah. And the other thing is that Naz wouldn't waste his time with somebody who isn't super talented, you suspect, because he doesn't need to.
No, so it's going to be exciting, and we've got so many exciting things going on.
There are.
We can't
titles, boxes.
Everything going on. It's all, you two guys have heard little bits of what's going on, but we can't announce most of it yet.
But it is exciting.
It is, isn't it?
Definitely.
So, everybody knows it, but we just can't officially announce what's going on. But there's so much happening here. It's just great. They're the two new signings for the week.
And then going forward, you said about the boxers you've got going out this week.
Got two this weekend, fighting in the home corner. Omar MacKayle, McKayle, Silverback. He's making his debut in Somerset, and he's a really exciting heavyweight.
Is that a hotbed of boxing down in Somerset? I don't know.
Not really. I think I'm going to try and get him up to London to box, because he's going to make his debut down there, because he was due to fight in Bristol, as it happens, this weekend on Friday.
That was Senegal show.
No, it was a show, but it was a show with his trainer that his trainer was running, but they messed up the paperwork, so the show got cancelled.
Right.
So we had to very fortunately we got him diverted over to Somerset, so he's going to fight there on Saturday instead. We've also got Sajid Abid, who came through Arthur Bell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
was he Derby based as well?
Derby based as well, and he's fighting this week in Sheffield.
Yeah.
And at Sheffield also Eddie Bjorkland is fighting as a journeyman on the undercard as well, and he's a really tough kid.
Eddie Bjorkland is great fun to watch.
Isn't he?
Like, if you're around Sheffield and you get the opportunity to go and see it, because as much as he might have the label of a journeyman, he doesn't give a shit, does he? Like he goes in and he does a brilliant job. Brilliant 100%. Job. I enjoy watching him.
So we've got 3 fighters out this weekend, and obviously 2 of the homeboys. So I'm looking forward to see Sajid and Omar do really well. Kevin's likely to go. Kevin's going to Sheffield to the Sajid and Eddie fights.
Yeah.
I'm committed to going to the Ox Hotel on Saturday.
I am.
And as I often say, that's booked. I can't go. So
Trish will.
Yeah, you know the boss in my house.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Don't worry.
It's not me. So I'm heading to London on Saturday. So the guys will do well. So we're looking forward to them on Saturday.
Excellent. And in terms of shows coming up, I mentioned the ones in May.
Got the showdown with K Prospere, Nathan Weise at the top.
Yeah.
Ollie Pattison fights Harry Matthews for a challenge belt. Darrell Church is also fighting for a challenge belt, and then on the 26th, Jack Hughes is heading for a challenge belt, and then there's a show we're working on in June, which is one of the things we can't talk about, but that show is really, really good.
Yeah.
And Jumaane Cemero, Michael Devine, Southern Area is going on that.
Great fight.
And that's the third of 3 great fights on that show. Yeah. But we just have to leave it there.
It's interesting you said about Ollie Pattison and Darrell Church, same weight division, fighting for challenge belts. Is that something? Those 2 names, will they come together possibly? Southern Area title.
Possibly, but the Southern Area title fight that we've got is
links in
to Kirk, Garvey, Joel McIntyre, which we haven't had the contracts through, but we've agreed it verbally. 2nd of June. On the Joey Pyle show at Your Call, and it's a great fight for the public, and it was easier to make. I mean, Joel wanted to get it done quickly. We wanted to, at that point in time, we were all the shows were even the other show working on in June is all filled with title fights, so we wouldn't have been able to put that on until September. So as long as they can get it out in June, then he'll give it a go, and it's a great fight.
I doubt you'll see many, if any, better Southern Area title fights than Kirk Garvey and Joel McIntyre. Joel was just coming off the back of his English title loss. Kirk, who won the Southern Area against Sam Smith, didn't he? But what is he, ex-ABA champion? Yeah, like that is a hell of a fight. That should, by rights, that should have a bigger title attached to it. I know there are reasons why you can't at the moment, but for anyone who gets to see that, that's a treat of a fight to see for Southern Area.
And Joel, to be honest, just wants to. He said, "I don't want any more 6-round runabouts. I want to fight now."
Good.
And he wanted to fight. He said, "I'll fight Boats. I'll fight anybody. I just want to fight someone." So he just wants to go and have a fight now.
Good.
So Kirk Garvey's the one, and hopefully, if Joel wins that will move him straight on, because really he's already won the English, which is the level above. So you want to get that out of the way and then move back onto the English titles and get onto a British.
Yeah, back for Liam Conroy.
Yeah, I think Liam Conway may well move on. I can see him having a crack at Callum Johnson possibly if they don't get anything bigger.
Good on him. Good luck to him.
So that's fair enough. But so they are the fights that are there, but there's a few more to announce. Hopefully, all things being well, it'll be next week. So
and we'll come back to your questions. We've got a couple in at the end. But we'll move on. We'll have a chat firstly with Parm. You two are kind of intrinsically linked anyway, so some of it will cross over. But do you want to introduce yourself, Parm, in terms of what you do, your role kind of within boxing, within the media side of it, within the kind of promoter links that you've got?
Yeah, first of all, just want to say thank you to Steve and yourself for having me on the show.
It's not me, I'll turn
You're the middleman. You're getting the cut. I set up Pro Box Respect TKO about 2 years ago, and really it was just to get myself out there, meet boxers of all levels, promoters, trainers, managers, and I've branched out slightly into MMA, entrepreneurs, politicians, just to challenge myself, really. So it's recently done an interview with Conservative MP Tan Desi in the House of Commons as well. So that was interesting.
Did you get the selfie with them after?
I did. It's the trademark, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
see it all the time. I'm a fan.
I've been doing that for about 2 years. Been very fortunate to interview a lot of great people who've given me a lot of time to Pro Box Respect TKO. And then about 5 months ago, I decided to go out to Vegas and California to do international media, which was a very productive, successful trip out there. And glad to also say last week announced a collaboration with Joey Pole's Noble Arts Boxing. So I'm now signed to Joey Pole Boxing as well.
In terms of doing what? What's the role that you're doing with Joey?
It will be media, but covering all the shows. So I think 2nd of June definitely be one of them, if not sooner. So really just working with John Edwards, who, as you know, is a great trainer. He's got 16 professionals under his belt, and Joey Pole, who's doing a great job, just like Steve is.
I see a lot of the stuff that you do on your YouTube channel. See it covered across Facebook. You mentioned earlier about doing it with world-class talents through to. So I mean, there's one I saw the other day that you did with Louis Darling, who happens to be one of Steve's fighters. But there's that through to the interviews you've done with Linares and Salas, and the work you're doing out in the Mayweather gym. Does it make any difference to you who it is that's in front of you, or is it just I enjoy Salas, I enjoy Linares, I enjoy Louis Darling?
It's just my passion, Martin, and that's what I try and bring through on the camera, on the interviews as well. So even tomorrow, if I was interviewing, as you say, Louis Darling or Jorge Linares, it doesn't matter to me. And in fact, I can say even on camera or off camera, they are friends of mine, brothers of mine, and they've given me a lot of good time as well.
Yeah, and I say Louis Darling, that's not disrespect to Louis, by the way, because I know Louis quite well.
He's a great guy.
He was actually the first boxer I ever interviewed, so a lot of time for Louis as it goes.
Definitely.
But who's the best one you've interviewed? Who's your favourite?
I was dreading this question.
No, it's tough.
Can we?
No offence to you.
No fin.
The right answer is this show.
To be honest, even though I've only met Ishmael in the last 5 months, he's breathtakingly very honest. Somebody I've looked up for years, and my first interview and only interview actually to date, and thanks to Mark Tibbs, was his dad, Jimmy Tibbs. So I've enjoyed, but look, I enjoy all the interviews, but those are two I definitely wanted to do.
It's amazing with Salas, isn't it? In Britain, he's an overnight success.
Yes.
As soon as Linares became popular, Salas became popular, and then he came over and he set up, works alongside the Hay Gym. But that man's been doing it for years.
And that's what people don't realise. I mean, he's trained 20 world champions and 169 world title fights he's involved in. That's amazing.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, just a lot. But he's a great guy. He's, as I said to Steve in the office as well, he's a very humble guy, and I'm very grateful that he gives me his time.
Yeah. How small is he? Come on, I've seen interviews with him.
Why am I getting all these difficult questions? You've probably seen the pictures. I mean, he's.
But what always fascinates me about it might sound like a facetious question, but he trains Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is, by name, the juggernaut, 6'6".
Yeah.
It's a bit like Dave Coldwell and David Price when they were together. That you often think, how do you? And I think Coldwell said he used to use kind of stilted shoes to hold the pads for Price, which might explain the lack of movement from Price in some fights. If you've got a lack of movement out of your trainer on the pads, but I mean, for Salas and Joyce, how does that work?
Well, he was. I think I've called them platform shoes, but certainly he does have those. I don't know what raised shoes. So he wears those. I think I would say probably height-wise he's probably about 5 foot.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you clearly say, Joe Joyce is about 6'6".
Yeah, I find it fascinating that dynamic between the two. That
But clearly, with 20 world champion, he's doing something right.
Yeah. How was Linares? I like Linares. I'll tell you what, I sat ringside for Eubank Abraham.
Yeah.
It was on ITV, and had Anthony Croller sat doing punditry for it. And Linares walked up, and I watched them. Like they walked up and embraced like old friends. And Linares had his wife there, so I looked at her for quite a while. She's stunning. But then you turn back, and like they were sat where you are and where you are, with like the walkway down the middle, and they were chatting all the way through,
constantly.
all the way through the night. Like having a laugh, and like these two blokes have battered the hell out of each other for 2 fights. And then they just sat, and honestly they were laughing, chat. It was so like beautiful to sit and watch. And you think those two guys have spent 72 minutes punching holes in one another.
Yeah.
And then they can sit and just have a laugh watching the boxing.
They were both great guys, and again, even as a fan, I pinch myself sometimes when I sit across from them, interviewing them. But again, two great champions, very humble. Anthony Crolla I interviewed a couple of months ago in London, Linares out in Vegas, and they've got a very great friendship as well. As you said, Dave, I think it's 24 rounds they've gone, two 12-round fights. But when I spoke to Linares about Anthony Crolla, he was just sort of gushing, how much they've got.
It's like a proper bromance.
It is a bromance, and same with Anthony Crolla as well. So it's good to see, actually.
I met Crolla at Stock AM, and he's one of the nicest guys.
Oh yeah,
he's
lovely,
really nice guy. And a bit sorry to take the long off your side, but it was a weird situation because I saw him across the room, and my mouth dropped like, my God, this is him. And he pointed out, "Are you that Stuart guy?" And I was like, "Oh my God, he recognised it." Do you know what I mean? And
you've been
nicest guy.
Me online,
He can say what he wants about me. He can say what he wants about me. I'm not fighting him. But no, he's a really, and that's what I like about boxing. I've met so many people that are up here, and I don't mean height. I'm talking like the prime of their career, world champions, and they're the nicest guy. Yeah, nicest people ever meet.
Absolutely.
So what's the long-term aims then for yourself, Parm, in terms of the Pro Box Respect branding? And check out his YouTube channel, by the way. Give that a shout out.
Yes, absolutely, guys. On social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pro Box Respect TKO. So there it is. There's the badge. To be honest, Steve and I had a conversation upstairs again, and the long-term plans is to keep building the platforms across all the media platforms. And try and give something back to the boxing community as well, and the wider community. Yeah. And I would definitely one day love to follow in Steve's footsteps as well.
And do the promotional management side.
Absolutely. And having been over to the States, I can say, look, boxing for me is always my first love. And I know out in the States, it's like number 6 or 7 sport. But I don't care. I use a bit of a sort of a motto, which is taking boxing to number 1. And I would love to see that happen in the US.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing as a sport how accessible it is.
Yeah.
In that, if you went into the same and tried to apply the same theory to football, you'd be lucky to make it to the conference in terms of the access you'll get to people without having the right credentials of sorts. But within boxing, you can, as long as you're willing to dedicate, not be a knobhead, and dedicate some time and effort and persevere with it. Then you can get that access, and
definitely.
as long as you can kind of build that yourself. Yeah. Whereas if you did it in football, you wouldn't reach those same level. You wouldn't reach the world champions. You wouldn't be invited to go to, the German World Cup squad or whatever. It's
definitely what I found in my experience, Martin. It's definitely more accessible here in the UK. Fans get value for money as well, even if they're watching it just on pay-per-view as well. In the US, it's a little bit different, but they've got all these other sports, and they've got baseball, ice hockey, basketball.
They've even got some good ones as well.
And I think, but for me, what's missing at the moment is having those personalities. Back in the days, you had Mike Tyson's, Evander Holyfield, those type of guys. I think that's what's missing at the moment to bring the sport back up in the USA.
Yeah, excellent. And Stuart, we'll cross over to you. So fill us in. Firstly, NLP, hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
Tell us what it is that you do.
What happened was I started in NLP, so that's neuro-linguistic programming, which
I knew that, of course, but
so I can see the confusion in your face. But basically, what that means is brain language behaviour patterns. So it's like a study of success. So basically, it's just techniques how to always be at your best, because success is 8% mindset, 20% skill. And then I found hypnotherapy and used that as well.
Can I ask, where does physical fit into that? If it's 80% mindset, 20% skill, where does physicality fit in?
So what happens is, say for example, someone's training hard, okay, and you can take some good boxers up, bottle it basically. So the ring walk, everyone says it's the ring walk, which I disagree. It's weeks before, and it builds up, and you can see some boxers, and even the naked eye. I'm talking like even armchair fans. You can see two boxers walking and go, he's going to win, or she's going to win, because the other person, so you hunch back, you can see the nerves getting to them. So no matter how good you are, if you bottle it on the night, there's loads of boxers that I don't know if you'd like the trainers say, when in the gym, take David Price for example, when Dave Caldwell was saying he's been doing everything right in the gym.
Yeah, everyone says
absolutely
it. World champion in the gym.
Yeah. Comes to the fight and he's not. He's not just processing that. And now, I'm not saying he's bottled it by any means, but there's something wrong up there that's not quite. Yeah. And I've said it on a couple of interviews before, where I've said, look, this guy will win a world title, and everyone's going, oh, you don't know what you're on about. But I really believe he's got the credentials to do it.
You're wrong. I think he won't.
I think if he gets that mind sorted, I really believe that he could do it.
He won't. It's too far. I think.
You only need one fight.
It's not to disrespect. Wow, that's arguable because you have to get there.
Oh yeah, but he's going for a European title apparently. So basically, the news is, well, this is not official. I've read this on an unofficial. This is the most unofficial.
Breaking news.
Yeah. So don't say Stuart said this is real, because
I read that as well.
But he's going for a European title, wins that, he's got his world title shot.
Is there not? Okay, I suppose that's the second question to it. For someone like Price, who's been through, and we all sympathise with Price.
Yeah, of course.
He's been cheated out of this sport.
Yeah.
He's been cheated out of it, and I sympathise entirely with that. The amount of drugs cheats that he's fought.
Yeah, he
should never be allowed back in a ring.
No.
Whatever. But is there ever a point where he's too far down that road, where mentally the damage has been done, that he's been hit by Tepper, he's been hit by Thompson?
Yeah, I don't do that. No,
I'd say that's the question.
Unless they've got brain damage, obviously that's out of my scope.
Yeah.
We're talking mentally.
Like,
I've worked with people that have been like, sorry to be a bit harsh, like with raped, in real bad situations, or being mugged, and you can undo it all. You take the baggage away, but obviously. The thing with that is, like, you've got to obviously be practical. I wouldn't say, for example, if he's 45, I'll keep going. He's running out of time. Yeah. I'm not. But where he is at, he could get the Provoking fight. There was times when he looked good. There was times when he looked awful. And you can, when I was watching, I said, his mindset's on, his mindset's off, his mindset's on, his mindset's off. And you can just see it. I can analyse it all and just say, look, that's where he fell apart. That's where he's good.
What was your reading of it then? Because I found it fascinating. When he got knocked down the first time, he's on the canvas and he slapped it like when I tell my kids off, they might sit on the floor and slap it.
I thought that was a good thing.
I thought that was a really focused, right, I've screwed that up, but I know what I did wrong. Yeah. So from your perspective, would you have, if you could have stopped the fight there and then and gone, right,
I would have said he'd win. I would have said he won there. I even bet on him at 29-1 for a knockout, and when he knocked Provoking, I wouldn't say over, but as he fell, that's the moment he lost, because he hit him and he watched it and didn't do anything with it. He just stopped.
At the end of the round,
he just stopped. And he sort of looked and went, like, what do I do? And then it just, I think, obviously I can't say I'm not psychic, but I think then the thoughts start kicking in your head, because that punch hurts, or this happened, and everyone says he runs out of steam. But if you think of something nervous now, that something really worries you, you're going to be tired in an hour. Yeah. In 10 minutes you're going to be shattered. So if I get you to worry about something and go for a run, you're not going to go very far. Yeah. And that's the thing, like when they're saying he's gassing, it's not because he's unfit, it's because the mindset he probably won't. I mean, obviously he might turn around and say, look, Stuart, you're talking rubbish. But I honestly believe if he was looked after properly, I think he would have gone a lot further than he has. And I honestly, skill-wise, I think he's amazing. So
how many boxers out there do you think, in the whole realm of, if you took all the British active fighters, how many would benefit from what it is that you do?
Well, let's take Ross Birkinshaw, for example.
I love Ross,
so I love him, and, was worked with it. Basically, he had a comeback, and I think he lost 4 or 5 fights. So his second comeback, everyone said he's finished. I got a phone call saying don't take him on, he'll ruin your career. And out of those 5 fights, he won 4 of them. And the last fight, he got injured and got pulled out because his elbow. It was elbow, sorry, which I think probably played with his shoulder. I don't know. But he was 3-1 up on the world title eliminator. Yeah. And he won an English title without me. So I knew he was at that level without my help. With him, so we had I think it was 5 fights. Might have been 6. Sorry, Ross. 5 or 6 fights, and he won the Commonwealth title in 4 days' notice. He phoned me up Tuesday night and said, do you think I can win a Commonwealth title? And I said, yeah, 6-week camp, 8-week camp, not a problem, Ross. Went, great, I'm fighting this Saturday. Okay, yeah, that's fine, mate, yeah, that's cool. By the way, the guy's never lost a round and he's never lost a fight and it's in his backyard. I'm like, okay, yeah, right, let's do it. And I'll be honest with you, I've said this to him as well. Any other time, I'd have said, what, are you mad? But something felt right at the time, and he went and won that. He ended up winning the WBO European title. He ended up being, I think, ranked 8th for the WBO, 11th for the IBF. But before that, he only got 2 English title. If you look at, Ash Lane, he's now a Commonwealth champion. Yeah. Couldn't win an English title before we met, but I knew he had something special in him. I just knew it because I take clips of fights, and I think he's special there. So if you can do something special for that 1 second, you can do that for 36 minutes.
So is it about unlocking that? And
yeah, it's like, for example, say I see you running, for example.
Won't happen.
And no, of course. But when I see something special for that second, we need to just keep that there for that second, and I'll get you to. It's not even about improving; it's just that 1 second. You'll naturally improve anyway. Yeah. So you'll be like. So basically, if you imagine a graph, so you're good, you peak, and then you drop, you peak. I keep you at that peak, but that peak just goes up and up and up. And Ross, if he wouldn't have retired, obviously I had to because of injury. If he wouldn't, he would have won a world title. Yeah. It's simple as that. I really believe that.
Kevin Hooper, that was when you worked with.
Kev Hooper, yeah. He was a Midlands champ when we met. He's the first ever English champion from Grimsby. He's the second ever English champion from Grimsby, and he's the only 2 people have ever from Grimsby have fought for a British title. Yeah. So I've been lucky to be involved in all these fights. It's been amazing.
I see you've done a lot of stuff with. There was Chantel Cameron you worked
just
with.
One fight. Yeah, I don't want to start nothing to do with the world. As much as I could say, I have nothing to do with the world title. And I'm an honest guy. Fought for one. Had the pleasure of working with her for one fight. Lovely girl, and I think she won in 58 seconds that fight. Yeah. And I'm lucky to actually work with these people. I've gone from someone that watched boxing on telly to meeting all these people, and helps people win the national championships in the England boxing twice. Was involved in the European Games in amateur boxing. Commonwealth, helped someone win a Commonwealth gold last year. Worked with them. English champion, Southern Area, WBO European, Commonwealth. It's been honestly amazing. I decided to take some time out, and I said, I'm going to retire. I met Parm 2 weeks ago, funny enough, and we're getting on like a house on fire. And he said, look, you're making a mistake, mate. You are. What are you on about? Just have a couple of months off. And so just so you know, I'm not involved in the national championships this year in England boxing. I've definitely, even though I've had offers, I've decided to turn it down. Taking a few months out, but I know I'll be back.
So there'll be a return at some point.
Yeah, but the thing is, because I had a full-time job at the time, with boxing they don't get paid the greatest. Yeah. So I had a full-time job and trying to run this and study. So for 5.5 years I've been doing an average of 15-hour days. Yeah. Not taking any. I haven't had a holiday in 5.5 years, and I've just worked. And don't get me wrong, I've loved it, but I just need a couple of months off it now and work with celebrities and quit smoking and things like that. Keep that stable, and then but I will be back. Palm's fault, but it's one of those. I needed time away, and sometimes you need to mentor yourself. People don't realise that. It's all right going all guns blazing, but I've got to be the product of the product. I'm saying you need a mentor, and I've not got one myself. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Palm. It's like having an older brother going, look, because I'm the eldest, and he's like, look, take time out, mate, have a think, don't make any stupid decisions. So I'm taking a couple of months out, but it's boxing, innit? We love it. You know,
you get drawn back in.
Yeah, you know, like if there's shows on at 3 in the morning, I'll get up and watch them. You know, I've been to a couple of Steve shows, loved it. I can't turn away from it. I love the sport. It saved my life, in all honesty. So I love the sport. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I will be back.
And you work in other realms as well, as you said, the hypnotherapy and the working with various celebrities that you've.
Yeah, I've been lucky to. Yeah, I've been lucky. Well, I say like I've worked hard for it, but you know, I've been lucky enough to meet these people. I've had about 15 clients on television now. And from someone that started with £7 in their pocket and nowhere to go, it was quite crazy. It's just been quite cool with it, and you know, from things from like quit smoking to confidence to anything. They might have a film writer going up for a program on Netflix, so I'll obviously teach them how to be in character. So everything's different, you know. Like mental rehearsal with the boxers is massive. So when you go through it with your mind, what happened is like people. So if we take David Price, but they're going, yeah, it's no good. If you get knocked out, you get knocked out. That happened 5 or 6 punches ago, maybe a round before. You've got to nip it in the bud from the first moment. So, like, for example, he might get hit and his confidence is gone. We'll stick that jab and that would have never happened. And people are saying, you can have the weakest chin. Like, I don't think Vladimir Klitschko had the strongest chin. But was it Manuel Stewart said, just do not get hit, basically. You know, keep you on that jab.
It's a bit like Lennox Lewis.
Yeah, you know, and everyone's going to have a weak chin. If you are 18 stone of a bloke and you're punching an 18 stone bloke, one of you is going to go down eventually. Yeah. And so I don't believe in weak chins. You have the balls to get in there. You haven't got a weak chin. Definitely. And, you know, it takes a lot of guts.
Everyone's got an off button.
Yeah, you know, and
you can have the best chin in the world.
Yeah, and you have to eradicate that from the start, which with the mental rehearsal you visualise. So I'd get them into hypnotherapy, and they will literally be moving. You know, they'll be moving.
Whilst hypnotised. Yeah,
they twitch, and you know, and because they're visual, it's like being asleep sort of thing as such. Like, you know, when you're in bed and you have a dream, so you'll see them moving, and you can tell them they're taking it on. And then when they wake up, because it's through their unconscious mind, it takes time for it to catch up. So what happens is they'll go, I just feel great, and like I work with a skeleton rider called Ed Smith.
So the nutters that lay on us.
Head first, bang. Yeah, and I was luckily involved in Winter Olympics qualifiers. And he said, because he was working full time at the time, and he goes, oh, well, just by the end of the week I'm knackered. So we went through it. So will I say knackered? Yeah. So basically we're going through the whole week, and I said, no, mental rehearsal, I'm not taking any BS, you know, come on. And at the end of the week, Friday, he texted me and said, bearing in mind I've worked a long week, usually rubbish now, I've got a personal best, a season's best in weightlifting, like on the bar. He said, how'd you do it? Well, I didn't do it, I just opened the way. And the mindset is amazing, like literally you can push like ultimate limit. I'm talking like they punch quicker, they're moving quicker, they're actually fighting better. So people get mixed up with the mind and body, it is one. So if for example, again, if I go for a run and I feel great about it, I'm going to get a good thought. If I get a good thought, I'm going to run better as well. So it works together. But for some reason, when even if you hear like the top boxers, they go, my mind's right, my body's right, and they're still using it as two separate things for some reason. And because I know what I'm not saying no, I'm not saying like you don't know what you're on about, but when I even watch it, and we're talking world title fights, I'm like, what are you on about? It is one. The physical mind, it's just one big thing. But for some reason, I don't know if the world's not ready for it, I don't know if the world doesn't know, but we're treating them as two separate things, which it makes it harder for you.
Yeah. And
can I ask a quick question?
No, go for it.
Talking about David Price, so clearly he's got the skill set, but like taking the Provoking fight where his technique's not quite right. So do you think that's linked to his mindset then?
Well, everyone knows a perfect jab when they watch it on telly. I'm not saying that you throw one, but if you're watching on telly, you know a perfect jab to a sloppy jab. Now, if he mentally rehearsed every time that perfect jab, bang, or perfect feint, so what happens is the unconscious mind does not know the reality between a thought and reality. So when you're doing it in your mind, when you do it in real life, your unconscious mind goes like tap on the shoulder. So I've done this before. So when we are caught in what, I don't know what the real terms in boxing is, but you know when you get caught and you've got that moment of like live and die, you know, that flight or fight moment.
Oh shit!
That shit moment. I'm in the corner and I'm stuck and I'm wobbled. Yeah. Like, and I know it's completely different. When I trained at Warwick ABC, I had a lot of those moments because I was rubbish, but I just carried on. I just went swinging. You know, it was like, because at the end of the day, I mentally rehearsed that. I know I was going to get walloped, so you have to try and get your way around it. If your mind is set and you're ready for every situation, you're so much calmer. That's why if you look at like Frank Bruno, that moment was like, he's gone every time. But you look at Joshua against Klitschko and you think, my God, he walked onto one and all right, he was gassed and he was gone. But he knew what he was doing. He was calm as anything, and he was like, "I'm going to knock you out next round. I'm going to knock you out next round."
Yeah.
So he's obviously working on his mindset.
And for any boxers or anyone else out there that wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way of doing it? If they think, they watch that and they think you can help out.
On LinkedIn.
Although you've retired right now, but when you return,
You're on the Steve Goodwin show, yeah.
If I return in a couple of months, I'll be returning. It's at Stuart House. That's STUARTHOW. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and I'm being tagged in a load of stuff from Parm, so I'll be on there. But yeah, I'm on everywhere. I mean, I'm followed on Twitter. I'm followed by like Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Andy Crowley. Loads of people know about me. So it's one of those that literally, I love boxing. I do need time away from it because I've been working like 18-hour days, 17-hour days. But it's one of those. Thanks to Parm, I will be back. So.
Excellent. How's your six-pack challenge coming on as well? I keep seeing that we're working towards it.
I'll show you a photo. I did do really well, and then
I kept seeing the photos on Facebook.
And I was doing really well, but I'm ticking over now, so I'm taking it easy for a little while.
Having a couple of warm-ups.
Yeah, so I've only got a 2-pack left, but I'm in a couple of weeks I will be taking it seriously again. But as I say, I just wanted to tick over for a little while because I trained hard as well doing all that.
Yeah.
And I lost.
It's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, I lost 2.5 stones. So I was ask Kev Hooper or Chris Boone Smith if you don't believe me, I was fat. And then I lost a whole load of weight. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. Good. Before we go, Steve, I've got a couple of questions, but I've been unorganised again, so they're on my phone. As per usual. Right, I will run through these. So thank you very much to those that have submitted them.
Mum, please don't forget the milk.
And hopefully I've wasted enough time now to find them. Question from Colin, CM Sports Agency on Twitter, who's a great supporter of the show, so thank you, Colin. A question for next episode. Is there any Southern Area title holders at the moment, other than Yard, who we discussed last week, who should be looking to give up the belt to allow other boxers to challenge for the belts?
No, I don't think
Dubois would be the only one you could name.
Let's go down from the top. You've got Daniel Dubois, but his last fight was for the title.
That's true.
So he's a worthy champion who's holding his belt. So
it'd be interesting what his next fight is.
But absolutely. But until somebody challenges for it or wants to go and challenge for it, then why shouldn't he sit on it? Because there's no need. Why do we want to give it up if he's going to fight for it? The difference with Yard last week is he had no interest in fighting, and he was just there to block everybody else from fighting for it. Yard now, at the end of the day, if you've got a heavyweight now who wants to come out and fight, until they say they're not in, until they no, you have to assume he's still interested in defending it.
Waddy Camacho
is still
the most active area title holder.
Because why should he dump it when he's a champion and he's going to fight anybody for it?
What if, say hypothetically, because I know the last one was a eliminator for the Commonwealth.
Yes.
Hypothetically, if he got placed in a position to fight for the Commonwealth,
his next fight, then he should release.
Okay.
Because if what he got to say for Commonwealth or British or English or European title, then at that particular point it would be immoral for him to hold on to that belt because he would have no interest in coming back for it. The point with that is all you're then doing is saying I'm just going to hold on to it to screw everybody else up. So that's not, I've criticised Anthony Yard for doing it. So if Waddy Camacho did the same thing with no interest in coming back to it, then it would be morally wrong.
I anticipate I'll see on Waddy's 50th birthday that he's coming back to challenge for Southern Area title.
I mean, I think it would be fair if Waddy wanted to fight for a higher title to say if I give it up, I'll release it, but the winners I'll have an option to fight the winner if I want to come back.
Like the Meritus.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. But I think it'd be fair to let somebody else have a crack.
So like heavyweight Kirk Garvey, who's just won it.
Super middleweight Cello Render. Cello Render
will for Cello.
But Cello Render, nobody wants to fight. But why should he give up the title that he won so heroically? Nobody's challenging him for it, so he should keep it. Middleweight Taylin Jones, who at the end of the day he's took the fight in wherever he's gone. If he then comes back and doesn't want to defend it against somebody who's coming forward, then he's got to jack it in because he can't just keep wandering. He did turn down a fight for the Southern Area, which I totally get. So he should go off and do that, and whatever happens. But if he happens to win and he doesn't want to defend the Southern Area, he should release it. If he loses, he then has to defend it. If he doesn't defend it, he should release it. Light middleweight is Billy Bird or Super.
Only just won it, hasn't he?
Only just won it. Welterweight is who's the welterweight? Louis Green. He's been active defending it. Super lightweight.
Lee Green's on that Ultimate Boxer,
Yeah,
isn't he?
but he shouldn't give up something. He's just defended it. Super lightweight is Shio Osgood, who was looking to defend it. He should hold it. Lightweight is Jumaane Cemero fighting Michael Devine. Super featherweight is Craig Poxton, who's defending it against Archie Sharp in a purse bid.
Is he? Okay.
That'd be quite exciting.
Yeah. So featherweight's Jamie Spate. Nobody's coming, but he's having to fight somebody for it. Nobody's coming forward.
Yeah.
The strange thing was, I had Joe Elfie trying to strip Jamie Spate of the title. Right? This is true. because he had two fighters, Tom McGinley and Martin Hillman. Neither wanted to fight Jamie Spate because they didn't think they could win. So because none of them wanted to fight Jamie Spate, they felt that he should be stripped so they could match them together.
Right.
Now, what do you think of that one?
Yeah. No. I'm not having it.
That's ridiculous, right? So that was the last time I spoke to him, but that was ludicrous. But there we go. So therefore, if you go through it all, the only one really was Yard. There's nobody else.
Is he ranked in the top 5 or something in the WBO now?
Well, he's about number 1, isn't he?
Number 2. Yeah, number 2.
I had Kovalev's running from him.
He was offered the world title shot, wasn't he? I heard.
Although it's the WBA, I think, that he was offered it with.
Was it WBA? But he didn't want it though, did he?
No, he turned down the opportunity. Why is it? You can't blame him. I feel for the bloke. I really do. That it's the problem with when you gerrymander your way into a position that you don't deserve, and it's not him, it's his promoters, managers, whatever. But then everybody holds you to that account. But actually, he's a young man learning his trade.
But then he's a young man learning his trade that didn't want to fight Isaiah Burton.
Yep.
Then called out Frank Buglioni when Frank Buglioni was in no position to fight him. Turns down Callum Johnson. It just doesn't make good reading.
Yeah.
Because you can't have it always. I'm turning them down because I'm aiming for world title. You turn down the world title. What are you actually wanting? Do you want to fight the high domestic level? Do you want to fight for world title, or do you just want to?
Yeah.
You know, so and again, I'm sure Anthony Yard will fight anybody because I'm sure he's a proper fighter. But there we go.
Right. Question from John Bailey. Who is the one that got away? Is there anyone Steve has turned down working with, or turned down his guy fighting that he regrets? I'll come to the second question in a minute.
Well, so the first question is there anybody that I've turned away?
Yeah.
No, there's nobody that ever got away, because the only reason I turn somebody down is for 2 reasons. One, don't like them. If I don't like them, I'm never going to like them. So I'm never going to regret that. And the second reason I'll turn them down is they're just not up to the standard of somebody that we want. So therefore, and I've never told somebody I don't want to sign them and they've gone somewhere else, and it's done well. So that there's nobody that's ever got away.
And those standards, it's quite unique the way you do it, isn't it? In that it depends on what somebody's goal and ambition is. So if somebody's goal and ambition is, world championship is the southern area for them, then that's fine.
It's fine.
And if their goal and their world championship is the world championship,
that's
someone
fine.
like a Chisora, potentially a Buglioni, then those can be catered for as well.
That's fine.
But you're one of the few that will handle it from the bottom, in inverted commas, through to the top.
But if you don't have a relationship with that person and don't gel with them and you don't like them, it doesn't really matter what they offer. You don't want to work with them.
Yeah, and also for those that ever wonder, I've seen with the passion that Steve has, somebody winning an area level title is, depending on what they are, who they are, what their aims are, it's the same enjoyment as somebody winning the British title.
For sure. Oh, for sure. It's like you've got to really want that person to do well, and if you're not that, but to me, it's not about the boxer it's not a cash cow. It doesn't matter how much money they're going to generate. If I don't feel that I want them to do well, then the money doesn't really count. It's the passion of it all. So there's never, ever, ever been one that's got away as such. There's been. And again, I don't. Even at the end of the day, you sometimes get a fighter that has left or has gone elsewhere for certain reasons, and I never feel that's a loss either. I think that the problem in boxing is boxers often can feel that the grass is greener. And there's one we briefly spoke about coming down, just as we were coming down here.
Yeah.
It's not. It really isn't greener.
There's an interesting one. Joel McIntyre's a good case study.
Yeah.
He was with you and then he left. And
No, he never left.
did he not?
No.
Okay.
John McIntyre was John McIntyre. John McIntyre was John McIntyre was with Mickey Elliott.
I thought he was with you before. I didn't mind
Never.
before that. But yeah, he is kind of stagnation there.
I think if a boxer leaves, unless there's a unique circumstance, you wouldn't have him back.
Yeah. That's fair
It's
enough.
done. Once they go, they go.
Yeah.
If they realise they made a mistake, which they do, that's tough, really.
It's a question of loyalty and...
Yeah, there's got to be a very good reason. If I've got rid of a boxer because I've got the hump with them for a certain reason, or they've done something wrong, and they wanted to, because the boxer who I did get rid of asked me whether I'd take him back last month, and if there may be a situation where I might do that, but if a boxer leaves because they've been disloyal or think the grass is greener, they're never coming back.
That's fair
no
enough.
matter how bad the decision they make, you go and sit in there and you made that decision that you're not coming back there. Because there's been enough people that are good people that are loyal that I want to work with. I don't want to work with somebody like that.
The second question from John Bailey. What do you think of the live music aspect of the lead show? Is this to build a show or to cover possible lack of sales? So this is a Kaiser Chiefs are going to be playing on the undercard of...
I think
they're the main support, aren't they? Is it being billed as for Josh Warrington, Lee Selby?
I think it's a really unique idea. I quite like anything that's new, and I think so I like the idea of them being on. So that's the first point. Second point is whether it covers poor ticket sales. That is a separate issue, and the only people that would know that would be the promoters, wouldn't they? So I think it's very high. I don't want to second guess. It maybe they just thought of they're going to really make the atmosphere better and make the event better for everybody, and that's great. If it's for ticket sales, well, hopefully it'll help their ticket sales.
Yeah. What do you reckon to it? Would you go and do you approve of boxing with a dose of music?
I do, but like sometimes, especially like over in Germany where they do it a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think I just get on with it. I just want to watch the boxing. So yes, I agree with it, and no, I don't. So
it depends if they just turn up.
What it is.
If they play I Predict a Riot and then get on with the boxing, I'm okay.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
If it's a
completely.
1.5 hour set where they get all their B-sides off of a crappy album no one cared about. For 10
that's
years
when it
ago.
gets a bit like, like the 11-minute songs, then your national anthems, and then it's like the video reel of like their childhood and like how they got into boxing and their 34 fights. Then it gets a bit boring. But if it is to, like I say, if it's to play I Predict a Riot, that is fantastic.
As Steve said, it's unique, isn't it? Because normally what you get is somebody accompanying the ring walk, don't you, and singing along. So it could be a rapper or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I mean, that's Josh Warrington's song that they use. I think it's a
really good thing.
I think it's really good.
I'm excited for it,
I think at the end of the day, if ticket sales are struggling, good on Frank Warren and Queensbury for actually using that, and I think credit where credit's due. So whether it is for poor ticket sales or not, I don't think it really matters. I think it's about the fact that they're trying to add something to the show.
Would you ever do it if you had a London band that fancy coming out and doing a couple of tunes?
I'll get Shakin' Stevens out.
Anyone from the 80s, if you're watching.
Yeah, anybody can. Get Kim Wiltshire out, Shalom. I'm going to see Shalom too. Cool and the gang can come back.
There we go.
Even the Quo. We'll have them out.
I'm busy that week.
He's 17.
No. They were the 90s. They don't count. I think.
What's your prediction while you're here then for Selby Warrington?
I honestly believe that Warrington does it on points, and I think it's going to be tight. I'm talking like split decision. I think Warrington edges it.
Steve?
Selby, Bomhouse.
Selby on points, and agree with Steve.
Yeah.
I think it'd be wide.
I agree, and then I fear for Ellen Road after that. If I wouldn't want to
brave Lee.
Yeah. Those Leeds fans are pretty raucous, aren't they?
I don't think Josh has the skill set. You've got to remember, Josh has been one of the. Now, I've got to give credit to his manager. Steve Wood's his manager. He's been one of the best managed fighters of the last 10 or 20 years.
Yep.
You took a kid that really has got basic levels of ability
and a hell of an engine,
and he's done a phenomenal job with him, but he's going to be thoroughly exposed by Lisa.
I suspect he gets found out. That's my thought on it, but
I do agree though, if he does lose, and I think he will lose,
I would leave in the 11th round if I was there. And
I just think the crowd get behind him. I think I've got caught up in the hype, to be honest with you. I've loved every minute. Like the build up. The build up. No, the build up. It's just the build up of it. I do love the sport, and I'll be honest with you. I've just been sold it. I think Warrington does it. I've just at the start I said Leeds will be easy, and then the build up, and then I don't know. I'm a Leeds fan.
Let me tell you something about build-ups. Let me tell you something about build-ups. I've made my two biggest betting wins on people buying into build-ups. I have a gambling wise, right? I don't bet very often, but I have a proper bet now and again. When everybody started to believe that Kell Brook could beat Golovkin, and the odds went ridiculous. When people started believing that McGregor could beat Mayweather, it was was the most ludicrous. But that's the same thing. They're going to try and convince you of this. This is a one-way fight. This is not a 50-50 fight.
I just think Warrington steps out. I don't know why. I think it's the lead. You know, he's always wanted this. He's been chasing this fight forever.
He can chase everything like he will not win that fight.
Did I say to you, Stuart, I think Selby's world class, but imagine if he had pop on him as well.
Yeah.
That he'd be.
I just think it's a split decision. I think it'll be the tightest fight ever. I don't know why. I've just
the only argument I can make for that is that Leeds crowd. If I was a judge there, the thought of trying to get out of it. If I've given it to Lee Selby,
the only way he can win is on some crazy decision that makes no sense. I agree.
Welsh Mayweather.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal boxer. Lee. I watch him.
Yeah, so I think but just very quickly, Hay Bellew.
David Hay.
By.
I think it's a late KO.
Yeah,
I do.
I think Bellew.
By?
I think by knockout. Only because, don't get me wrong, I love David Hay. I've been a big fan of his for years. I think he's past it. I think he's finished. And Prime against Prime is a different story.
Yeah, cruiserweight Hay.
This is almost like Frampton versus Donaire. Donaire's finished. Mm-hmm. I love Donaire, honestly, a big fan. But I think Bellew, he's 37, 38, and I don't mean I'm not disrespecting that. In his prime, Jesus. But I think he's struggling to get to fights now. He's always getting injured. He's put his body through a lot.
Steve,
and
I think it's one fight where I normally have an opinion. If David Hay has 60% of what he had, he wins it easily. But what I don't know, and again, I don't know. None of us know what David Hay is going to show. Yeah. So to make a prediction when you don't know what David Hay is going to show, you've got to realize he's different levels to Tony Bellew by a country mile. But his 2 fights against Mark Demori and the Cobra meant nothing. Meant absolutely nothing. And if you look at those fights, I believe that in that second fight when he fought the Cobra, he didn't look that good in that fight. His timing was off. And then the Bellew fight. But I think the thing I would say about the Bellew fight was David Hay was on one leg and Tony Bellew struggled.
Yeah.
Now, if David Hay had 2 working legs, he would have walked that fight. Yeah. And that wouldn't been the best David Hay. And I believe David Hay will be better this fight than it was that fight. So I therefore believe that on that, I don't see how Tony Bellew wins unless David Hay's engine body packs up.
He's in great shape though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Looks very light.
I think David. I'd say I would honestly say I think David Hay wins the fight unless something goes wrong.
I'm going Bellew points.
Are you really?
I am.
It's 2 each.
I am.
Really? Why?
You can't convince me David Hay has sellotaped his body enough to get through that fight in any sort of even 50% physical condition. He might be able to for 4 rounds. He might be explosive for 4 rounds, but he was explosive for 2 or 3 in the first round. The first fight. And although you could say he had that lingering doubt about his Achilles, he still couldn't put a dent in Bellew. And so if you can't do that then, I don't believe for a second that he can go past 6-7 in any form of physical shape. And I just think Bellew, I think he's wise. I don't rate Bellew hugely. I think it'll be a bit of a poor fight, and I think Bellew will be able to weather the storm. He's not got the power to knock him out. I genuinely don't believe he can hurt Hay, and I think Hay probably knows that as well. He's a sitting duck, a lame duck for 9 rounds or whatever.
I think you see a different David Hay, and the other thing in there, he did come in a bit heavier when he 16 stone 2. He always looks better at 15.5 stone, and you could see he kept loading up as well, and he was missing by a country mile.
I'll say whether that's because he knew that his Achilles was gone early doors, there was problems, so he's just trying to finish it there and then.
Well, apparently leading up to it, wasn't he in Germany or something? So I think he should have pulled out that fight, to be honest.
Too much money.
The problem is though, after the Tyson fight, do you know what I mean? He pulled out the Tyson fight, pulls out again, your career's finished, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's in that situation now, like agreeing with you, like I think, I obviously don't know the facts, but I think his body's gone, and if he has got niggling injuries, he's got to continue fighting because he's known as the guy that always pulls out, and I do feel sorry for him for that. Because when you get older, I mean, I'm only 34 and I train nothing like him, but I feel the odd tweak and that, do you know what I mean? And he's putting his body through hell at 37, and you got to feel it. When do
he got criticism for the Klitschko fight as well, didn't he? With his toe.
Yeah.
So he brought that out himself.
He probably did.
He got it out in a press conference. Don't get your toe out in a press conference. It's unbelievable. Right, I think that's probably about enough. Let's give it one more mention. Stuart has to get hold of you for anyone out there that wants their mind dealing with the positivity that comes with
I've
it.
got a page, actually, a Facebook page, which I just copy and paste on it. So if you find Stu, that's STU Inspired NLP, and then I will, if you just say hi on my wall or something, then I'll just get you on everything else.
Lovely stuff. And Parm?
Guys, Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and I've got a website as well, and it's all Probox, Probox Respect TKO. The website is proboxrespecttko.com.
Lovely stuff. Steve, they know where to get hold of you. Twitter. Don't give him grief about Arsenal losing Newcastle.
I don't care how many times they lose, they get rid of this bloody manager.
You're going to go and win the...
I want them to lose, because if they lose, they just might get rid of this man.
How long's he been there now?
Too long. 7 years too long. 7 years too long.
A couple of pterodactyls that were calling him to get sacked, I remember. It was,
I've been calling for him to get sacked for 7 years. Get rid of him. He is old, decrepit, senile, useless, incapable.
yeah.
We're getting mixed signals here. So do you like him or not?
Yeah, I think on that note, we shall leave it to it. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next week, where hopefully some of these announcements have been building up to will start dropping, and you'll be able to give them out. But thank you for your time, much appreciated, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Thank you.